How you doing, everybody? It's Tuesday afternoon here in the basement. Um, One of the great subscribers that I have. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Love your comments. And one of the comments was a suggestion on a video. What are your top 10 favorite albums, excluding the Beatles? That made it kind of interesting because probably the Beatles would have three or four albums in my top 10. Another artist who I worship in the same regard as Bob Dylan, who would also have one or two. Actually, my two favorite albums of all time never seem to change. Sgt. Pepper number one, Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde number two. So I thought it'd be interesting if I eliminate Bob Dylan and the Beatles and pick my top favorite albums of all time. As they are today, this list could change. If I did this tomorrow, I'd probably pick 10, a couple different albums or put them in a different order. But it was fun trying to pick some stuff out here. So let's start. The Who. Not Who's Next, but I love that album. Should be a top 10. Quadrophenia. My favorite Who album. Amazing record. Pete Townsend is we throw that word genius around like it's nothing, but man, come on. Tommy, Quadrophenia, who comes up with this stuff? Just amazing, amazing album. I love every minute of it. Just incredible. The the Love Reign Over Me part is just phenomenal, and Roger Daltrey does a great job on this. Keith Moon's drumming on this album is incredible. John Entwistle's bass playing. I mean, it's just a friggin' amazing album. Number 10, Quadrophenia. Number 9 is an album I put in the CD exchange with my great friend Larry Graves, the Canadian Stud Muffin. We do a regular series exchanging 5 CDs that the other person hasn't heard, and then we come back and review them. I'm sure you're all familiar. One of the ones I gave him last week was this album, and he went out and bought it because he liked it so much. Joe Walsh's Barnstorm album. Now, Joe Walsh left James Gang and started this band called Barnstorm. So the album is called Barnstorm, but that's really the name of the band. Joe Vitale and I'm having a hard time here. Kenny Passarelli. There's the boys there. Beautiful, beautiful record. It's for the most part very acoustic. Joe Walsh plays great acoustic guitar, and the songs kind of all flow together. It's got a real mood and a flow to it that's absolutely beautiful. It's some great songs. I know Larry liked I'll Tell the World About You. I'm a big fan of Bird Call Morning. The whole album, Here We Go, the way it starts, and then it's just kind of real dreamy, and Midnight Visitor, and Mother Says. Then the second last song then turns into a rocker, Turn to Stone, which is one of Joe's greatest heavy rock songs, I guess you'd call it. And then the last song, another acoustic, Coming Down. But if you've never heard this album, you should check this out. Joe Walsh, Barnstorm. Fantastic record. Oh, man. Okay. We got to get the lead out here. Now, the album that really is close to my heart with Led Zeppelin is Led Zeppelin 1, because I remember buying it when it came out, and just from the cover. I knew nothing about it, and brought it home, and then just heard that in the days of my life I was shown what it means to be a man. That just went, whoa, head exploded. And so that album always has a close place in my heart. But what I think is their greatest album is Physical Graffiti. So this is number 8 on my list. I mean, In My Time of Dying, and Custard Pie, In the Light. I mean, there's just so many great. Kashmir, which is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. Fantastic album. Number 7, let's go with some roots music. My favorite guitar player in the world is Cooder. Great slide player, great rootsy musician who has such a respect and for the history of music. He will do Tex-Mex stuff, and he's been involved in music Cuba and Africa and world music and soundtracks. I mean, he's just an amazing guitar player. And my favorite Cooder album is Paradise and Lunch. This is an original master recording that sounds amazing. If you've never listened to Cooder and you like slide guitar, I mean, he was very influential with the Stones. Just an amazing guitar player. He does a version of It's All Over Now on here. The song I love the most on here is called Diddy Wah Diddy with Earl, Father Hines on piano. It's just like an old ragtime song, and they just jam away on it. It's fantastic. Just love this guy so much. Cooder. I've learned so much about different styles of music from this man. Amazing. Okay, next. Larry's going to be proud of me. Probably wished it was higher. Yes, Close to the Edge. It's funny, my nephew Jack's Stereo Experience was here for the weekend, and we played a lot of Yes. We went through, I played that Magnification album that Larry lent me in one of the CD exchanges, which I think is phenomenal. And then from there we listened to Yes songs and Tales from Topographic Oceans, and we had a Yes night. It was great. But this is the album that really, this and the Yes album were the ones that really got me going on Yes. I admit, when they came out, I didn't get it. I didn't want to get it. I thought they sucked. And that was more just because I was too wrapped up in blues rock and stuff like that, and not really paying attention to how amazing that music was. And it took me many years to give it another chance, and then the light bulb went off, and Yes is one of my favorite bands. So Close to the Edge was number, 6? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes! Another album that I gave Larry a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't rate it that high. I was shocked, actually, that he didn't well, I'm not saying he didn't appreciate it. He liked it, but I think it's a phenomenal album. It just, the first time I heard it, it just blew me away. Jackson Browne's For Every Man. This is a beautiful record. Jackson's second album. The songs are all amazing. Typical Jackson Browne with the amazing lyrics, and David Lindley's incredible guitar playing on this album. Again, it's another album like Barnstorm in the way that it has a mood to it, and it just flows all the way through. The songs kind of all connect in some way, not necessarily like a concept album, but just musically. And songs like These Days, which Jackson Browne wrote when he was 16 years old. The last two songs joined together. They're called Sing My Songs to Me and For Every Man. Just one of the great endings to any album as far as I'm concerned. And check out the people who appear on this album besides Jackson and David Lindley. We've got Sneaky Pete Kleino playing pedal steel. We got Don Henley doing vocals. Jim Keltner on drums. Rockaday Johnny on piano on Redneck Friend. If you don't know who Rockaday Johnny is, it's Elton John. Interesting. Glenn Fry sings a harmony on that song as well. Lee Sklar, the great bass player. Russ Kunkel on drums. Bonnie Raitt does harmonies on one song. Joni Mitchell plays electric piano on Sing My Songs to Me. Michael Utley plays organ on one of the songs. He's kind of famous for being in Jimmy Buffett's band. And David Crosby sings on this album. It's Jackson's second album, and it's just fantastic. I highly recommend this album. Okay, now we're into the top 5. This should be interesting. The Rolling Stones. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest rock and roll band in the world, the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Exile on Main Street, my favorite Stones album. Double album. Came out in 1972. Blew me away. I think it's number one to me because I happened to see this tour in 1972 at Maple Leaf Gardens. Stevie Wonder was the opening act. What a double bill. Tell me you've seen a better double bill than that. It was an amazing show. All I remember was it was so friggin' hot at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. When you were walking through the corridors, the floors were like slippery with sweat. It was a hot July night, and the Stones, of course, came on like an hour late, but then just rocked everybody. I mean, they were at their top of their game. Exile on Main Street, amazing album. My favorite cuts off of that album would be Tumblin' Dice, which is one of my favorite Stones songs. Rocks Off is great. Rip This Joint, Sweet Virginia, All Down the Line. Keith Richards' song Happy. I mean, just amazing, amazing album. Number 3, probably one of the greatest album covers of all time. Although somebody commented when we did our video on bad live chat on bad album covers, somebody said this was a bad one, but no. King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King. My number 3 album of all time. This is just the granddaddy of prog rock. The greatest prog rock album ever. Maybe one coming up you could call prog rock. But one of my all-time favorite songs of all time, if I did a list of my top 10 songs of all time, is Epitaph off of this album. But 21st Century Schizoid Man and Robert Fripp's just amazing, amazing. Oh, I've seen King Crimson a couple times over the past 5 years. They're amazing. They're playing in the States. I'm using the word amazing too much. They're touring the States, and now they're touring Japan. I'm hoping they're going to come back to North America and play Canada once things open up, because I'd really like to go see them. Another really, really important album, which is number 2 on this list. When this album came out, it just blew me away. The album before it was called Blowin' My Mind. Well, this one blew my mind. Van Morrison's Astro Weeks. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful record. That's the best term for it, is beautiful. It's Van's poetic lyrics set against this kind of really jazzy kind of tone with acoustic, with great bass playing and acoustic guitars, and just a beautiful, beautiful record. I love every song on it, but Madam George, which is my favorite Van Morrison song, is on here. The first side, In the Beginning, Astro Weeks, Beside You, Sweet Thing, Cypress Avenue. Then afterwards is what they titled Part 2 or Side 2. Young Lovers Do, it's a jazz tune. Madam George, Ballerina, beautiful song, and Slim Slow Slider. Van Morrison's Astro Weeks, number 2. Number 1, drum roll. So I said King Crimson was my number 1 prog rock album. I'm not sure. Some people consider these guys a prog rock band, so I'm not sure if this is a prog rock album. So I guess if it is, maybe King Crimson's number 2. I'll let you decide. Aqualung. What can I say about Aqualung? Amazing cover as well. That and King Crimson cover would rank up there as 2 of my favorite covers of all time for sure. So, FM radio in the 60s, underground radio. When Jethro Tull came out, they played a song called Beggar's Farm off the first album called This Was Jethro Tull. That's how I became aware of Jethro Tull. Loved the song. I never bought that album, although I'd look at it in the stores all the time, go, I got to get this. I own it now, and it's a really bluesy album, actually. It was before Martin Barr joined, and they changed their sound to kind of what Jethro Tull's more famous for. And the second album was Stand Up, which I just ignored, and again, it's an amazing album. I have it now. And then I went to the record store, and I saw this, and I bought it because of the cover. I knew I liked Jethro Tull from the couple of cuts I'd heard, and I brought this home, and it just spoke to me from the first minute I put it on. It is, I don't know, it's so dynamic, and I just love the kind of the battle between the acoustic and electric guitars on this. It really does make it a very dynamic album. This is the Steven Wilson remix, which sounds amazing. That's the one thing I was never happy about this album, is I could never find an album, a version, an issue of this record that I thought did it justice until this one. This is the go-to version, Steven Wilson remix. Check it out, it's amazing. This is the album. It's a must-have. This is a great record. I mean, the title song Aqualung, Wondering Aloud is a beautiful song. Locomotive Breath, what a rocker, and the wind-up at the end is just phenomenal. Just, what can I say? Aqualung, fantastic. So that's my top 10 for today anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know what your top 10 are. I'll look forward to seeing you guys later. Peace out, everybody. Peace and love, everyone.